She was so rude that Variety decided to drop her from the cover of the magazine. Hi and welcome to Blossom Talk, the podcast. I'm Kersti Floor, journalist, Hollywood troublemaker, and your favorite voice of reason in a town built on illusion. Each week, here on my podcast, I unpack the madness, the hypocrisy, and the stuff that fascinates and infuriates me about celebrity culture. So let's unpack. If you follow me on YouTube on my daily show there, you know that I speak a lot about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's legal feud. But here on my podcast, I do talk about other things as well. I will start off a little bit talking about what's happening with the Blake Lively situation, but then I'm going through other things that have fascinated me this week. For example, Gwyneth Paltrow's new book, and these young new actors who's so entitled and rude that Variety canceled their cover shoot with her. Also, I wanted to vent a little bit about what I feel about all these celebrities, like my age and older, who are posing in their bikinis all the time on Instagram. And I'm starting to get a little tired of it. So please stay tuned. Okay, so I spoke about this on my channel already, that Variety published a story about Blake Lively. They interviewed me and some other content creators who have been subpoenaed by her legal team. And they're one of the first ones after Daily Mail who actually picked up this story. And I was super excited about it. When I read it online, I was like, okay. But then I saw the article on print. And I was pleasantly surprised by the title of this story. As you can see, it says Blake Lively versus the internet, which I think is so fitting to what's happening right now. I'm sure since you're here watching this, you probably have followed that drama as well, so I don't need to explain a lot. There's another quote here that they highlighted saying, she's trying to kill a fly with a sledgehammer. It's an absolute PR backfire. Couldn't agree more. And I'm so happy that trade magazines are now picking this up because, as you know, until now, mainstream media has been completely biased towards Blake Lively during this entire legal feud. And it's very infuriating, especially for me as a journalist, to watch that from the sideline, to see how they keep doubling down on her narrative, which we all have learned by now that it's fake. Also, I've been told that Blake Lively's team has reached out to a lot of content creators and they want to have a meet and confer with them. It's interesting because, you know, they haven't responded to any of our phone calls or emails. So far, my lawyer had one lucky time he reached someone in the office there. But apart from that, they've not responded to anyone. And all of a sudden, they want to meet and confer with these content creators. I spoke to one who said that they had a meet and confer, and that meeting didn't go anywhere. So if you're a content creator and you're watching this, I would say no to any like meet and confer. They're not interested in finding a solution here. All they want to do is manipulate you into sharing all your information with them. There is also a story going around now that Selena Gomez had a birthday party and Blake Lively wasn't invited. This guy called Rob Schuler, who I talked about before, he has a Substack and he has a lot of inside information about celebrities. And he's quoting an insider here who's saying that Selena wanted love, light, and platform boots, not subpoenas and side eyes. Okay, she wanted platform boots because it was a 1970s disco themed birthday bash. And yeah, Blake Lively was not invited. And as you know, she wasn't invited to Gigi Hadid's 30th birthday not too long ago either. So she is being shunned by all her celebrity friends. As you know, Taylor Swift and Blake Lively are not friends and probably never will be. Anyways, I have to say that I've met Selena Gomez's boyfriend a couple of times, or fiance maybe he is now. I don't know. 2 times in New York, where I was at a birthday party to some music producers and I was at his table and he was acting like such a prick. The first time I was there, Sia was there as well. She was such a sweetheart. I walked into the elevator with her and I had a dress on and the label was like pointing out and she started fixing it. And then we went to the bathroom together and she was bragging about her dress that was $12 in a secondhand store. She was just really, really sweet. And her and Benny, I think, were close. I don't know if they dated at one point. But anyways, Benny, on the other hand, not a very nice guy. And the second time later that year, I was also sitting next to him at a table and he just left. So I was just sitting there and he was on one side, and then there was no one sitting next to me there because it was the corner of the table. And then he probably thought that, oh, I'm not interested in talking to this woman here. So he just left and I was just sitting there by myself. It was so rude. So this other girl who saw everything happen, she walked over to him because he actually went and sat somewhere else. And this was like a whole sit down dinner situation. And she walked over to him and she was like, "You're so rude, just leaving like that. That's unacceptable." And he was just like, oh, okay. He seemed like very socially awkward. Anyways, I don't think he's a good choice for Selena Gomez. That was my point in telling that story. Talking about rude celebrities, this just blew me away. I mean, how dare you? So, this story in New York Post about Kyle Chandler's actress daughter. So Kyle Chandler, I loved him in Bloodline, by the way. I think he's a great actor. I've never met him, so I don't know anything about how he is. But his Nepo baby daughter, the audacity. I'd never heard about her, but she's now in a FX big budget series called Alien Earth. And she is the main female lead in this show. And guess what? She was so rude that Variety decided to drop her from the cover of the magazine. And they're open about it. I think this is amazing. This is like showing some change in the industry that people are like, okay, we don't accept that you're being rude. So what happened here was that they sent her some questions that they wanted to ask her, and they wanted to do a Q&A with her and her co-star Timothy Oliphant and the showrunner Noah Hawley. They're 57 and 58 years old, which she's making a point about, by the way. So she was asked she was asked to do this interview with these people in the show, and she said no. And she didn't feel comfortable with those questions because they were going to do this game called How Well Do They Know Each Other? And she said, I don't want to do that. And her team, and it says here, her team expressed that she had no interest in sitting down with two older men for this game. So Variety here claims that Chandler's reps had reached out the day before the scheduled shoot to say she was not willing to participate in the video. She just wanted to be on the cover, but she didn't want to participate in the video. Her team expressed that she had no interest in sitting down with two older men for a game of how well do they know each other. The magazine provided the actress with a list of questions that the segment contained ahead of time and asked Chandler to respond with a list of questions she felt uncomfortable with. Then they sent back some alternatives, and then the editor-in-chief of Variety said no. And then he decided to remove her from the cover shoot altogether. And there's even a quote here from the showrunner, Hawley, who said that he is very disappointed in the leading lady's behavior. I mean, how long is this girl going to survive in the industry? Her name is Sydney, by the way. I forgot to say that. And she's getting this amazing opportunity, and she's like too good for these two older men. After the cover was out with the two guys on the front instead of her, she did a follow-up interview where she said she's just a private person who is new to press. It's a bit out of my comfort zone, she told them. I was more than happy to talk about anything and everything about the show. That's what I'm here to promote. If you don't feel comfortable with the press, I'm sure they can give you some training in doing that. It's not really that hard to sit down in a fun video with your co-star and the showrunner to answer some questions. I mean, so many young girls would kill to get this opportunity, and she's just like, oh, yeah, I don't know if I'm doing too harsh here. I'm just saying this from a journalist perspective because that's where I'm coming from. And if you have these opportunities that are given to you, you're so lucky. And to be honest with you, she's the daughter of another big actor. So she would probably not have gotten this role if it wasn't for him. And then acting like this, that you're too good because they're two older men. I don't know. Okay, so let's move on to the next scandal here, Gwyneth Paltrow. But before I get into that, I wanted to thank the sponsor of this video, BetterHelp. Let's be honest, workplace stress is real. For me, the last couple of weeks, as you know, has been really stressful. And I'm sure you recognize the feeling of being pushed by deadlines, meeting, and the constant grind. It all adds up. This summer, I've been focusing on taking small steps to improve my wellness. One thing is that I walk Oscar early in the morning before breakfast and just enjoy the peacefulness. And sometimes I just want to sit quiet for 10 minutes and just center myself. There's all these little tiny things that makes a big difference. But here's the thing, stress doesn't go away with a vacation. And while we can't just all quit our jobs, we can do something about how we handle the pressure. Therapy is one of those things that helps. Whether you're dealing with major issues or you want to just be better at setting boundaries and protecting your own energy. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy platform. They have over 300,000 therapists and have helped over 5 million people worldwide. You can talk to a therapist from anywhere and you can switch your therapist anytime you like. You, as my listeners, get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Kjersti. That is BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/Kjersti, KJERSTI, which is my name. Also on YouTube, you can find the link in the description. Okay, so let's talk about Gwyneth Paltrow. I don't know if you've seen all the headlines lately about her new book. It's not really her book because someone wrote it about her. And there's so much juice coming out of this. And I was asking Magnus, because I've never met Gwyneth Paltrow, but he has met her many times. And I was like, what kind of person is Gwyneth Paltrow? Do you like her? Because I have a feeling that she is like very snobbish and entitled. And I don't like her whole goop thing. I think it's just a huge scam. And I feel like I've heard so many stories about her not being nice to people. But anyways, Magnus said that, oh, she's so charming. She has this warmth about her and a very good sense of humor. And I really understand why guys are falling for her. And he also said that she doesn't sweat the small stuff. And that's also a reason why she's been around for so long. And I think this last week, we've really seen that Gwyneth Paltrow doesn't sweat the small stuff. Because I feel like every other celebrity who would have a book written about them with all these like personal and intimate details being leaked would be furious. But someone said to Us Weekly, there's a quote here from someone close to Gwyneth Paltrow saying, she isn't too bothered. Gwyneth's been in the Hollywood game for a long time and she has thick skin. The insider continued, this book isn't a big deal for her. And I was like, okay, well, I respect that. And the thing is, if she would have made a big deal about it, the press would have made a much bigger deal about it. So I think this is actually a really smart way to handling this. Anyways, the author name is Amy Odell, and she's been talking to a lot of insiders around Gwyneth Paltrow, and she has looked through all her previous interviews. And here are some of the most juicy stuff from the book. She's talking about her relationship to Brad Pitt. Here it says that after Emma came out, the movie Emma, Gwyneth went over to her friend, a makeup artist, his place and cried about Brad Pitt multiple times. He wanted to be with her, but seemed to feel threatened by her success and all the attention she received. Her makeup artist advised her to break it off with Brad Pitt. It also says here that once she called Brad Pitt dumber than a sack of shit. And that made me laugh because I've heard that too. And I've interviewed him a few times. And let's say it, I don't think Brad is the sharpest knife. I do find him extremely sexy on screen. And I do like to watch him in movies, but I don't think he's that smart. Anyways, she's pointing out how they have very different upbringings. And she's saying that when we go to restaurants and order caviar, I have to say, Brad, this is beluga and this is ossetra. Who would know the difference? I think that says a lot more about Gwyneth than it says about Brad. And then there's a feud with Winona Ryder. There was a story back then that Gwyneth Paltrow had stolen the script from Shakespeare in Love from her friend Winona Ryder's dining table, and she ended up getting the part and she won an Oscar for that part. But Gwyneth has denied this and said that that's something Winona Ryder made up. Anyways, in a Goop letter, she wrote this, and everyone was like, okay, this is definitely about Winona Ryder. She said, Back in the day, I had a frenemy who, as it turned out, was pretty hell bent on taking me down. This person really did what they could to hurt me. I was deeply upset. I was angry. I was all of those things you feel when you find out that someone you thought you liked was venomous and dangerous. I restrained myself from fighting back. She added, I tried to take the high road, but one day I heard that something unfortunate and humiliating had happened to this person, and me reacting was deep relief and happiness. There went the high road. Okay, as you know, Winona Ryder was caught in shoplifting, and it really like ruined her career. And Gwyneth Paltrow apparently really enjoyed that. There's also talk about her relationship with Ben Affleck and all the intimate details about what they did in bed together, which was like, whoops. I don't think Ben Affleck liked all those details coming out. I saw some headlines about that somewhere. And apparently he was struggling with alcoholism and gambling when they were dating, but and he wasn't paying much attention to Gwyneth. He was more interested in being with the guys and playing video games. After they broke up, Gwyneth said that I love men even though they're lying, cheating scumbags. Okay. And apparently, during the shooting of Emma, when she was with Brad Pitt, she had a crush on Hugh Grant. She told someone that she had a crush on him. I can't blame her because Hugh Grant is the most charming guy ever. And back then, I mean, he was so cute in all those romantic comedies. Who didn't love Hugh Grant back then? Before he was caught in sleeping with that prostitute, by the way. And then there is the Madonna feud. Apparently, they were really close friends, but then Madonna got a little too close for Gwyneth's liking. And when she was married to Chris Martin, Madonna showed up at their house, at their vacation house. And then they had a big dinner with Madonna's daughter, and she was yelling at her daughter. And they were like, we don't want anything to do with Madonna anymore. And then Brad Pitt met Jennifer Aniston and married her. And apparently, Gwyneth wasn't too happy about that. And she had said that Brad Pitt had terrible taste in women. Well, in a sense, then she's saying that she was a bad choice for him too. But I don't know, maybe she was jealous. According to some sources online, Jennifer Aniston isn't too happy about this, but she's not going to go out and say anything. Jennifer Aniston is one of those people, she never gets involved in these kind of things. The book is coming out on July 29th, so mark your calendars. Okay, so I wanted to talk about something else that had been bothering me a little bit lately. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this because I feel like my feed on Instagram, a lot of the times, I just feel like there's celebrities, especially more mature women, that are dancing around, flaunting their bodies in bikinis. And I'm like, okay, what do I think about this? Do I think it's empowering? Or do I actually think it feels kind of desperate? And do these women inspire me in any way? Do I feel like they give me any sense of value by doing that? Not really. And every time they do it, they get picked up by either Daily Mail or New York Post. And there's always headlines like so and so strutts in a bikini at 58. This is 50. Ageless beauty flaunts her curves. And I feel like they're not really being honest about the motivation for posting these videos and pictures of themselves. I feel like the only reason they're doing it is to get worshipped in the comment section. And I feel also it's kind of sad that you have to go to that length. And I feel like they're pretending that they're promoting confidence and self love, but it's not relatable in any way. It's not inspiring in any way. I think it's quite exhausting, actually. And that doesn't have anything to do with women not being free with their bodies. I feel people can go around in their own home and dance in a bikini wherever you want to. But if you post it on Instagram, you have some kind of mission. And I feel that secretly they just want us to admire them and want to be like them. But what they're doing is actually making us all feel a little bit bad because the way they look is unachievable for almost everyone else. Because if you don't have millions of dollars and you can afford to have a personal trainer and a chef and not work most of the time, it's impossible to look like that. And also, what kind of message does it send us that you're only worthy if you look like you're 30 when you're 55, and that aging gracefully is aging invisibly, unless you're willing to give up everything else in your life to look like that. So if they're doing it in the name of empowering other women, I think they're failing. Salma Hayek is one of them who keeps popping up. She's 60 now. She looks amazing. I mean, no one's saying that she doesn't look amazing. And if you read the comment section on her videos when she's dancing around like that, everyone is like, worshipping her and telling her how beautiful she is and how amazing she is and how sexy she looks. And that's the reason why she's posting that video. It's not to make other women feel good about themselves. Not that I'm saying that is their responsibility, but you have to be honest about it. I feel like if you pretend that you're trying to empower other women by doing that, that's just a big fat lie. It was funny the other week, Halle Berry danced around in a bikini and she posted it on Instagram. And later she posted another video to explain to everyone why she posted herself dancing in a bikini, because she had gotten some backlash from it. And people said, aren't you too old to do that? And then she responded with this video.
I don't care how old I get, I'm going to hold on to me. Age is just a number, and feeling youthful or beautiful is really an internal feeling. It has nothing to do really with our physical self. It's a freedom that comes with beauty and aging.
Yeah, she said beauty has nothing to do with physicality. But look at me dancing in a bikini. That is not liberation to me. It's more like desperation. And I think when you make yourself a victim because you get criticized for it, how can you then say that you're liberated from all of this, that you feel so free because you have the need to share with everyone else that you're dancing in a bikini? It's not like you will just keep that video for yourself and your partner, which would be a kind of normal thing to do, because who are you actually doing it for? That's my point there. Who are you doing it for? Is this really about confidence though? Because I feel like if you are really confident as a woman, you don't have to do that. And if you do, you have to just take the heat. And Halle Berry, who made herself a victim afterwards because she received criticism for it, I have no sympathy for that. She put herself in that position and she's pretending that's because she's so liberated. But we all know what it's all about. Anyways, I wanted to highlight something positive though, because I did see Jessica Biel, which I think I've never met her, but I feel like she's an authentic person. And I watched her latest show, Better Sister, that I really liked. But anyways, I just feel like there's something real about her. And she posted a reel on TikTok because a lot of people had asked her how she got that tone back in the TV show Better Sister. It's on Amazon, by the way, if you haven't watched it. And she responded by saying this.
I just felt like I wanted to share that peak shape in that show is not maintainable unless you are living the strictest, most rigid lifestyle with your nutrition and with your fitness, which I cannot do.
Yeah, she responded by saying it's not maintainable for normal people to look like that. I love that she said that. And also she added some value to it. She showed us some of the exercises that she does to get back into shape, or to get, I mean, she's always in great shape. I mean, I've never seen her not look amazing, but she did share that. And I actually tried some of those exercises and I was like, oh, this is so nice. You know, you don't have to just be like, show off, look at me, how beautiful I am, which is not attainable for anyone else but me, because I'm a celebrity and I have a ton of money and time to look like this. And to me, she just did it the right way. Anyways, I'm sure some of you are going to disagree with me on this. Let me know in the comment section on YouTube what you feel about this. If you have the same opinion or if you don't, because I like to hear other people's opinions as well. And if you want to send me tips about anything, my email is flossandtalk@gmail.com. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.